Why is it so important, Philip, that we show the desegregation of education? Why is that important?
Absolutely. I think we look at our modern day politics and see how politicized things are. We see the venues and opportunities of social media where there's more of debating and arguing versus discourse and dialogue, which is truly what we need in a well informed and collaborative society. And I think at the basis of it is we're not giving our youth, our children, that opportunity to be exposed to collaborate, to build relationships across lines of difference. And again, this goes back to the segregation that exists in schools when you zone schools based on their neighborhood boundaries. When we talk about the civil rights era, there was so much conversation on how do we integrate schools? How do we look at busing systems that give low income students, Black and brown students, the same opportunity, the same resources by going into schools located in more affluent communities. And often that history is very dismissed in schools. When I think about the history of Brown versus Board, which is something you learn in school, is about school integration, but often people don't know within a year, Brown versus Board 2, the second court case, had to be established the following year to require integration to be moved at a expedient pace. Just because the first court case was established didn't mean it was actually happening. People resisting the efforts, and this was obviously deep-seated historical desire to keep people from being integrated. And again, if we don't learn to live together, work together, how do we create futures in which we're able to build together? And so being siloed has incredibly damaging effects. And the reason we don't talk about busing or integration today, again, goes back to this idea that we feel like we've arrived. But we also don't talk about in 1974, 20 years after Brown versus Board, there was a court case called Milliken versus Bradley, which said you did not have to integrate schools across different school district lines. And when we think about my hometown, our home community of Stockton, California, there's really 5 school districts that intersect into Stockton boundaries, the largest being unified. And that specifically is the largest proportion of students of color, highest proportion of free and reduced lunch. And you have these smaller communities that existed due to white flight and the creation of their own school districts,
Right.
implicitly to, not necessarily be a part of, being educated and learning with students of color. So there's a real deep history we have to heal from and recognize that we have been moving away from our opportunities to bring children together, to help them understand their identities, to unpack difference and really learn to truly collaborate, and brings us to a point to really question the relationships and dynamics we have as adults to really bring people together.
Listen, it starts with the adults. It starts at home, right? And so I want to slow this down a little bit because you're dropping gems. You're gathering us like the good auntie spirit. You know how the auntie come and she just gather everybody at the family reunion with all of the education. Listen, okay, what if I would say to you, oftentimes that I hear from parents, well, RC, I just want a quality education for my children. I pay taxes. They should have the best of the best in their schools. I chose this district to buy my home in so we could afford a good school. And if I can't have a good school, we'll go to a charter school or a private school to have a good school. Now, you're hearing a lot of this type of sentiment. And how do you argue with that when they say good school? Does it mean being around certain others that influence your children? Is it being around the fact that the school is 90% or even maybe 100%, like it is in my district that I represent in my advocacy, where they are on free lunch and they're considered marginalized and low income? How do you support and in the moment, in that teachable moment, share with parents the critical understanding of why we shouldn't segregate further.
Absolutely. I think one of the first pieces is, I think we would all agree that all students deserve good schools and all families deserve that for their children. And then I think the second layer is, how do we evaluate and consider what is the purpose of education? Is it specifically for your singular child to learn and grow and develop skills so they can access opportunity? Or is education more of a public good where we're working together, collaborating, and building a shared community and future together? There are many schools of thoughts on what is the purpose of education. And I think the great thing about having different school models and different school opportunities give parents the opportunity to choose the type of school and the type of education that they think is right for their child.
What's your story? What are you comfortable telling us tonight?
It's a long story, but to simplify it, it's crazy that you asked that, because a lot of people wonder, where does she come from? Why is she so bubbly? Who does she think she is? You know, the misperceptions that come with being everything that you stated. But my family is from South Stockton. Grew up on welfare, been homeless, without, my mom was mentally retarded, prostitute, white woman.
And when we say mentally retarded, we're not saying it as an offense. We're saying a diagnosis.
Retardation, it's a diagnosis, yes.
I need to get that clear.
Yes.
That's that auntie spirit that gets activated. Okay.
My dad was from South Stockton, in and out of prison, gangster life, did drugs, abused my mom severely. I'm the middle of 7 children. So there's, 7 of us. I don't know if my dad is the dad to all of us or not, but I do know we have the same mom. I grew up in a very abusive environment at home. I was sexually abused for 12 years till I ran away at 18.
Okay, so we don't just run over that, because I was like, okay, up until this moment.
At 18, I ran away.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, when you run away, like, your past is your past. And that's how I lived for quite a bit. No family, no friends. So what do they say? The streets raised me. I just lived my life running into the arms of anyone that would open them for me. So you guys can imagine what that is like. There's not too many nice people out there. So I've learned a lot of bad things and overcome a lot as an adult. I met my husband. I am married. Yay. When I was, oh my God, it's been 20 years. How old am I? 42. So at 22, he's the husband, father of my 5 children. We had our ups and downs, you know, what comes with being with somebody for 20 years. But what started my journey with my businesses in health and wellness and helping people came from when I birthed my first set of twins, which was 15 years ago. I knew nothing about being healthy at all, not mental health, physical health, nothing, nutritional health, nothing. But the doctor told me that my children's lives was dependent on my well-being.
Oh, shit.
And looking at them being born 3 months early, 1 pound each, both of them trached at 4 months, G-tubes placed in, oxygen, concentrators, code blues, I can't even count how many times. And then they turn around and say they're not going to live past 2. For the doctor to say their life was dependent, even the short amount of time they gave them was on my well-being. I immediately went from hot Cheetos and Pepsis and body.
Oh, sure.
So when people ask, why are you always so kind? Why are you always so nice? Why are you always so loving? My life, I look through a lens of the majority of individuals are not healthy and well. I know what it feels like to walk a life where you feel like nobody cares about you.
So going back to now that brought us together, let's go full circle. You're doing all of this wonderful work. You're making a name for yourself. You really have a tremendous story. I come to you and I pitch to you what my vision was as a leader, how I wanted to make a statement, how I was talking to all of our other family members who are making statements, and we're trying to figure out exactly how to show up as a community and say, our Black mamas are dying.
Right.
Our Black babies are dying. 4 times now the normal rate. It went up, exacerbated the rate in California, the rate in the United States. We see the disparities that we're seeing, and we're trying to fix things. And we're trying to find creative ways. So I created this community lactation space. It's many spaces that could be utilized to connect people to doulas and to CHWs that could support them. I go to Kia, I pitch it to her, and I say, Kia, I need an artist that can really captivate. When they come to this place, they see themselves, they see that they're safe, right? So
yes.
Now that you know a little bit of background of why I picked Kia, tell me how. Just a little bit, because we're going to do an after segment, and we're going to show you the actual painting, and Kia is going to walk you through this painting. This painting is phenomenal. I put on the post some of the reactions when you pull the unveiling of this painting, and this painting's so deep, girl.
It is. It really is.
What did we name it? Did we ever name it anything?
Well, I call it the birthing tree.
You call it the birthing tree, just simple.
I call it.
Because I named the name that.
Yeah.
But that's the painting's name. The birthing tree. Okay.
Because I think the whole thing represents it, in a whole, like the meaning and the spiritualness behind it. But when you told me about it, it just like excited my soul. I'm like, I want to do this. This sounds great. Even when Maddie told me about it, it sounded good. But then after I talked to you, it just got even more exciting.
Mm-hmm. So this thing evolved. And I want to tell people how amazing you are just for a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that.
We ran into some snags. We were trying to figure out how to make it a mobile mural. We didn't know if it was temporary. We didn't know if we wanted to make sure that it transcends or Huddle keeps it. We don't know. So we decided on the approach of using canvas as what do you call it? The technique, or because it wasn't medium. On the wall, it's the like medium. Uh-huh. So we used canvas for the medium. And what size are the canvases?
5 foot by 4 foot.
Okay, so all together, it was a 15 foot by 20 mural.
Something crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's 5 foot by 4, and we had 3 of them.
Yes.
So 12 foot.
12 foot across. And then 5 foot high.
And 5 foot high. So this thing is massive. It takes up the whole wall. You see it. I had everybody come upstairs. I said, listen, the thing was heavy, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness. It was heavy. I hung it. I didn't tell you this, but I hung it up, and it was so heavy that it the wire stretched.
Oh my God.
And I could see the wire, and I was like, oh, I had to take it down, and then I had to re-stretch it.
You were so dedicated for the grand opening. You were like, we gonna get this to work.
Yes.
And Maddie had like some portrait and arts that he called it like a wall. It was even too heavy for that wall.
Oh yeah. No, we had that wall. He put it on that. I tried to put it on just to see, and the whole thing was like, I had to catch it before it catch it. Yes.
And you remember I was running around because I was getting everything ready for the grand opening. I wanted everything to be perfect. You know me. And I'm like, kid girl, you okay? You like, yeah. How many hours did it take you to do that painting? Straight. Be honest with me.
I don't know. I could say, what? I don't know. That's a good question. I would work on it. I would wait because I have to have quiet. I'm easily distracted. I might be a little ADD. I don't know.
I am
but
too.
The littlest thing.
But the best artists are.
Okay. So
embrace it.
So I had to wait for everybody to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I would put my earphones on if they're taking too long. And then I would be up till like 3 a.m.
That's how mommies do it. Y'all. Stop playing with me. You are a mommy of
5.
Actually,
okay,
7. 7, because you're two
they're grown though.
bonus
I don't really have
daughters.
to do anything for them. They're independent women.
So can
living
we
their
talk
best
about
lives.
how you didn't gain no weight, first of all? Because I'm gonna be flip flopping back to the girl and you.
I don't know.
When I saw her, I was freaking amazed. She was like, "Listen, this calls to me because I breastfed all my babies."
I did.
And she was an advocate because her mama couldn't.
She couldn't breastfeed me, and so my mom, she was a really smart gal, and she like got the perfect on the SAT when she was in high school, and she's a Filipino, mestiza gal.
Okay.
And her counselor.
What does that mean?
That means that you're mixed with Filipino and some other race.
Okay.
Just mixed.
And that's okay for other people to use that language?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
Mestiza.
Mestiza.
Okay.
So what I love about this little story is like, so my mom's in high school, and then her counselor's like, don't even apply for college. Your parents probably can't afford it.
Ooh, wait. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
That's that implicit biases that keep us from excelling. So how did they get over that?
So how did she get over it? When he wasn't in his office, she broke in and she stole the
She's a rebel.
And then she went and took it and got it perfect. She got it perfect. It was in the newspaper and everything, and got full ride scholarship to any college she wanted to go.
Girl, when I tell you you was forced into greatness, your mama willed that manifestation. Do not get in front of my destiny. Guide us to now, where you at? How did you get into being like Miss Philippines? Because the pageant world by itself is a whole podcast.
Yes. Well, it wasn't part of my bucket list.
Okay.
My aunt, who is my mom's youngest sister, the second eldest in her family, actually represented the Philippines in 1984 as Miss Universe Philippines, and won, fourth runner-up. But it was never in my bucket list to follow her footsteps.
Really?
No.
Ordained.
You're
going to understand the assignment.
I went with my grandparents to drop her off at the airport, actually.
Wow.
I was like 2 years old or something like that.
And you just didn't know that one instant.
I didn't know it was part of my destiny. But fast forward, just like you, I was an athlete. I love sports.
Yes.
I played tennis for almost 20 years.
Wow.
I love the sun. I didn't care,
yes.
If I had a tan or if I had acne or anything like that. But my parents were so involved with the Filipino community.
Okay.
In Australia, that they supported the Philippines by creating events, creating community, leadership and youth programs.
That's right.
That my dad even, introduced me to my mentors that I still have today. Ate Carla, hello. I appreciate her. She's an older sister of mine that's been very supportive through my life journey.
Yes.
And I honestly am grateful for my dad and my mom for introducing me to having older mentors. Because it's tough, right? When you have, like at school, we feel as though one friend is actually mature than the rest of us, but really we're all the same age.
Yes.
So
I was always that one friend trying to be somebody's mama. Shout out to my Montezuma friends, my Hamilton friends, some of my Franklin friends, and my Stag State friends. But they were always trying to say, you're trying to be somebody's mama.
But that's the thing.
But I was the oldest sister. I took on that role.
Right.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, if you really think about it, we're all kind of like in the same, we're still trying to figure out life.
Yes.
So having that experience, and then, I knew my dad was supporting candidates to represent their province, because every year there's a Filipino fiesta that happens. And all the Filipinos all over Australia will come to Sydney. And we just spend a huge party.
Wow.
And that was a lot. So imagine there was like 12 different provinces or organizations that would represent or sponsor a girl.
Ashe.
And so
that's dope.
That was my thing.
Yeah. But that's dope.
My uncle,
how y'all came together.
Yeah, my uncle had his 50th birthday, and I just got dressed up a little bit. And all the titas, all the aunties saw me walking. Oh, who's this tall girl? They cornered my dad.
You know it.
And my dad is like a strict Filipino Catholic dad.
Traditional dad.
So when they cornered him, he had no choice but to be like
that maternal energy. Woo!
He's like, Mafe, the titas and the organization would like to sponsor you to be the next candidate.
Let's go.
I'm just like,
I mean, I'm listening, and the only thing they had to say, you'll be helping a lot of fellow Filipinos
Yes.
and giving back if you do this.
Wow.
It's a no-brainer for me.
That's a no-brainer. That's how
You
they
know,
reeled you in.
So that's how it started. And so
That's how it started.
my aunt who represented, she flew to Sydney.
Wow.
She was able to speak to her fellow friends who are designers.
Mhm.
She was able to bring some gowns for me.
Come on
She
now.
gave me some tips, and I just had fun. Like I mean, yeah, okay, fine to win, but I didn't expect
Wow.
to win.
Destiny.
You know, and
Destiny.
my dad helped me, supported me with the Q&A. He was really into it because I mean, hey, that's also
Yeah.
his
He's
org.
like, yeah,
So when I
I'm
got
going to
to-
support my daughter. I'm going to go all the
yeah,
way.
so when I was able to experience that, and then I won the crown, they flew me to the Philippines,
Yes.
and that's where it really, it nailed my purpose.
Wow.
When I donated the funds that we raised,
Okay.
visited orphanages, home for the elders. Imagine your grandma, grandpa being
Look at all this
abandoned.
great. Look at where your wine cup
you
at.
know.
Let's cheers. Wait, did you leave your wine cup over there? We need to cheers to